Everyone, welcome as we begin the first few days of our journey into Lent. Each week we're going to dig a little deeper into the themes around Lent. But first, what is Lent and how do people keep it? Lent is a 40-day season leading up to Easter. Why 40 days? Well, the number 40 carries deep meaning in the Bible. It often represents just a long time, like in the story of Noah's Ark, where it rains for 40 days and 40 nights, meaning it rained for a long time. The number 40 is also linked to times of trial and testing, like in Exodus, where God's people wandered the wilderness for 40 years. Most importantly, Lent links to the 40 days that Jesus spent fasting, praying, and facing trial and temptation in the wilderness after his baptism. These are all stories where people face up to the reality of the brokenness of our world and our need for restoration and new life. Lent includes three key practices: fasting, prayer, and charity. Fasting has been a spiritual practice for God's people since forever. Fasting usually means going without food for a time, sometimes from sunrise to sunset, sometimes missing certain meals. These days during Lent, we mostly see people choosing to give up something specific for the 40 days. That could be sweets or coffee, TV, more recently, people giving up social media. But it's worth knowing that each Sunday, as a celebration of God's gift of rest and grace, we do get to break our fast for that day. So look forward to that. The key thing is that fasting isn't about proving how strong we are or earning favour with God. It's about creating space to be with him, which leads us to prayer. Fasting and prayer go hand in hand in the Bible. Fasting creates space. We free up time and energy and attention so that we can focus on God. Prayer is more than just asking for things. It's about talking with God, experiencing him, and deepening our relationship with him. So during Lent, we can commit to set aside time to be quiet in our day. We can aim to read the Bible more, or we can simply seek to talk to God more throughout our day. Thirdly, charity. Jesus said that the greatest commandment is to love God, and that the second is to love our neighbour. This might mean helping someone in need, giving to a charity, being intentional about kindness. Lent shifts our focus from what we lack to what we can give. It redirects our love from things or activities towards God and the people around us. The key thing is that Lent is about growing nearer to God. It isn't about earning God's love. In Mark chapter 1 verse 11, we see Jesus being baptized, and God speaks and he says, "You are my son, who I love, and I'm really pleased with you." And that happens before Jesus goes into the wilderness for 40 days. Jesus goes into the wilderness knowing that he is already loved by God. And that's true for us too. We don't fast, pray, or give to make God love us more. He already loves us more than we can imagine. Instead, these practices help us let go of distractions, refocus our hearts, and deepen our relationship with him. So as we begin our journey, I'd like to offer two practical tips to help us to live Lent. First is start small. If you're new to this, or actually even if you aren't, don't set yourself impossible expectations. Now, Lent should be challenging. So you do want to give up something that matters to you, something that you will notice is missing in your life over these 40 days. But remember, it's a time of trial. It's not a time of torture. So start small and stick at it. Second, keep it simple. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness. There isn't much out there to distract you. And Lent is about simplicity. Don't overcomplicate. Prayer is just talking to God, wherever, whenever, using whatever words are natural for you. Remember, what God is interested in is your heart. And he's pleased with our intention during Lent to want to grow in him. So if you slip up, don't worry. Lent isn't about perfection. It's about new growth as we turn our lives towards God. So as we begin this journey, ask yourself, what is God calling me to let go of? How can I grow closer to him in this season? Lord, I ask you to bless us as we live this Lent together. Help us make space in our lives for more of you. Help us to enter this time with grace, aware that we are known and loved by you no matter what. Amen.